And Karis Cures. What do the stars say about 2023? Not the Hollywood stars. We're talking about the stars up in the sky.
And we talk about this on the show all the time. What happens when Mercury is in retrograde, as it is right now? Joining us now is internationally known astrologist, numerologist, Carrie Samuels. Hi, Carrie.
Hi, it's so great to be here with you.
It's so great to have you with us. All right, so Mercury and retrograde. If Kara throws that in my face one more time, I'm going to be like, what is happening? Tell us what that is.
Well, first of all, I want to let everyone know that Mercury retrograde is nothing to be afraid of. There's a lot of mystique about it, about how scary it is and how confusing everything is. And I just want everyone to know it doesn't need to be that way.
Okay, good.
Mercury retrograde is a cycle that we go through 20% of the year. So it can actually be a very peaceful and productive time. Mercury is the fastest planet in our solar system. And retrograde means that it appears to be moving backwards. And the ancients observed that Mercury is our fastest planet, so they named it after the messenger of the gods. So Mercury in astrology rules communication and transportation. So in these seemingly backwards phases, and it actually isn't backwards because the planets never move backwards, it's an illusion, but in these seemingly backward times, that's when our communication and our transportation can seem to be haywire or moving backwards somehow.
Like all the flight groundings we've had. But it's also a time, you say, if we want to go in, it's a time for us to review and slow down?
Yeah, that's why it can actually be a very peaceful and productive time if you know how to manage the energy. Because in our society, we are go, 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 go. But that's not how it was in the ancient times, right? People used to be very much more in tune with the seasons and in tune with the cycles of nature. And here in our society now, we're always like moving, just like Mercury, the fastest planet, right? But it's actually retrograde 20% of the year. So we are meant to have cycles in our life. I know it seems like a foreign concept for us to slow down, but we're actually meant to slow down during this 20% of the year. It happens every 4 months for 3 weeks at a time, 4-month-ish for 3-ish weeks at a time. And the rules of thumb for Mercury retrograde are all the RE words: review, repair, reconnect, everything having to do with going back. So the way to manage Mercury retrograde is to instead of moving forward with things, like all those things you put on the back burner, it's time to do those things. And that's how to make Mercury retrograde a not chaotic time.
Kara's always telling me, don't sign any contracts during this time period.
That's what they tell us, right?
Is that true?
Yes. Yeah, it actually, well, here's why that is. Because Mercury rules your mind and your thoughts. And during Mercury retrograde, you're rethinking things. You may be changing your mind, or you may be catching up with information that you overlooked. So instead of being superstitious about these things, which I know when we don't understand them, it's easy to be superstitious. It's meant to help us do things that we won't regret later. So if you sign a contract when Mercury's retrograde, you may change your mind about it later, or you may receive more information later that will help you make a better decision. So that's why it's usually a good idea to avoid large purchases or signing contracts while Mercury is retrograde, because again, you'll get more information during this time. You're catching up with information that you overlooked. And so if you sign a contract or make a really big purchase during Mercury retrograde, then later you'll go, oh, wow, I didn't see that before and I wish I knew. And you'll have buyer's remorse or something like that, if that makes sense.
Very interesting.
Yeah, so it's something to be aware of. And I know you told us, which I learned this, something new, it happens every 88 days, which we're going to delve into. Is that right, Carrie? Every 88 days?
Actually, that was a Mercury retrograde miscommunication I did. Mercury's cycle is 88 days around the sun, which is 4 times faster than the Earth. And so It's actually every 4 months-ish for 3 weeks out of 3 weeks of time during those every 4 months. So
Okay.
every 4 months for about 3 weeks. And there's also a shadow period before or after, which we call retro shade, actually.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool.
So the good thing is, I know you have a website. It's CarrieSamuels.com. I love to follow what you say, and just you let everyone know in an easy to understand way what's going on. But we're going to take a deeper dive on the Kara's Cures show and podcast, not only about Mercury retrograde, but 2023, the numerology of this year. It's, I think you said a 7 year, so we're going to find out what that means
Cool.
a little bit later. Carrie, thanks so much.
Great to be here with you. Looking forward to chatting later.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now do
Okay.
you understand?
I'm not signing any contracts, that's for sure.
But we also had a bunch of flights go crazy
Oh, I
and
know.
all
It was
this last
something
few
new.
weeks.